Hi, freaks. We're back again. Welcome. My name is Matt. Welcome to the Horror Movie Freaks. Joining me tonight is my good friend Sue. Hello, Sue.
Hi.
And also, Nathan, I don't know why, but your face went really big. So let me just fix that up. We are going live. And my good friend Nathan.
Hi.
So yeah, like I said, this is our first live show. Well, really, we've done a test run already, but yeah, this is our first live show. With thank you for joining us today. And we are going to be doing these quite regularly. We're thinking maybe every fortnight, although we're thinking maybe next week. There is a film that we want to watch quite urgently, so we will be doing one next week as well. So stay tuned to the end and we'll talk about that. But today, what are we going to be talking about? Let's have a look. So today we're going to be talking about the 2009 film Ready or Not. So, Ready or Not, what do you think, guys? Should we get into it?
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
get
let's
cracking.
get crack-a-lackin'. Okay, so had you seen this movie before at all, guys? Is this the first time you've seen this?
I'd seen it at the cinema with a friend. I'd heard a lot about it beforehand. So, yeah, I was quite insistent that we see it as soon as humanly possible. But I hadn't seen it since then.
Yeah, as for me, I'd never heard of it until you suggested it. So yeah, I had to go and seek it out online, and yeah, glad I did.
Yeah, like I do remember. Kind of remember the image of the poster, with her in her bridal outfit and the sort of combat, the ammunition draped over her shoulder. But I never saw it at the time, so it was a movie that I was keen to see. Like,
The poster reminded me a lot of Rec 3, actually. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but there's a similar, bridal with the bullets and stuff in that movie.
I don't think I've seen that one. It does sound familiar though.
It's good. You should look for it. It's
We'll
funny.
have to add it to our list. But yeah, it is a pretty cool poster. It kind of like has all of the best moments in it. Once you've seen the film, like the maids, the crazy aunt with the axe, and the brother-in-law down the bottom. It kind of gives away a lot,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like the trailer as well. It gives away a lot as well. The poster, when you kind of look at it, like the house burning and everything, it really covers all the moments of the film.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
hadn't noticed
don't
that.
look at the spoiler. The poster
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah, as is
Oh,
the
do we need to do
trailer.
a spoiler
we
alert?
do need to do a spoiler alert. If you haven't already seen Ready or Not, we do recommend that you pause our video if you're rewatching it. If you're watching it live, then we do recommend that you stop watching now and watch it later on once you've seen the movie, because we will be discussing all the best bits of the movie. So we will be spoiling all the way through. So just be warned. Should we get into it?
Absolutely.
Okay. Oops, Nathan, your little image. I don't know why,
I'm
but we're having real trouble with Nathan's head. Like, just bear with us.
Oh, there we are. Now,
Takes so
There we
many
go.
things for not
Nathan
to say.
always ruining everything. Can't have any nice things.
sorry.
Oh, okay. So the movie kicks off with the wedding of Alex and Grace, a young couple who met 18 months earlier. Alex is the youngest son of the Ledomas family, who are extremely wealthy, having built their fortune in board games. Alex and Grace's wedding takes place in the very, very fancy Ledomas family mansion. So, guys, are you a fan of weddings? Is it one of those things that
I
you
love
look forward to?
I love, love, love weddings. And I watch all the wedding shows. I'm a bit sad in that way. Like I really just love everything about weddings. I think they're so much fun. So obviously I'm watching this thinking, I don't really like her dress. Those flowers are pretty. I feel like making comments, not in any way horror related, just wedding related.
Okay, I'm the opposite. I can't stand all the formality. I enjoy being a guest and the drinks and the food and the shenanigans. But other than that, yeah, it's just a big formal fuss.
Me too. Like, I'm not a fan of weddings. When I get a wedding invite, I have to pretend that I'm really grateful. I do feel grateful, and if I don't get invited to a wedding, then like it's in my friends group or even at work, then I do feel offended that I'm not invited, even though I don't want to go. But like, I will hate every second of it.
I respect the right choice.
It's not really my favorite thing. I should be, because I do like to drink and dance and eat, but yeah, I think it's all the formality and all of the extended family and all that sort of stuff that I'm not a fan of. I mean, even
but in this case, in movies,
exactly.
I like any excuse to dress up and eat and dance and have some drinks and stuff. It's fine with me because I love all that stuff. But so yeah, I'm just putting it out there. Anyone getting married, I would love to come to your wedding.
Sue can represent the horror movie freaks at any of our viewers' weddings.
It's fun too, so.
I have a closet full of dresses and nowhere to wear them. Yeah, that would be great.
And I'm sure even when the borders open, you'll be open to going anywhere in the world.
Oh yeah. I'll take the
even like for my own wedding, like it was something that I just wanted to get over and done with and just be married, not have to go through the wedding. As you guys know, it wasn't
the wedding was the highlight.
Yeah. Let's not go down that path. But their wedding seemed pretty impersonal. There wasn't many of their friends present. It mainly seemed to be a family affair. Like, it didn't seem to be one of those raucous sort of weddings. There wasn't any, correct me if I'm wrong, shots of their reception.
No, I don't know. No, they cut that. They did the getting ready for the wedding. They did the actual ceremony and then pretty much cut away after that. But a little bit of her backstory is that she's a foster child, I believe. So she doesn't really have any family. And obviously, there's no family there. Interesting, there's also no friends there. She's quite an attractive woman. She's gone through an adult life and teenagers and that sort of stuff. So I find she might not have family, but why not friends? It was all just basically his immediate family and his slightly extended family, like in-laws and that sort of thing.
Family though, he didn't have any friends. I don't know why they do that in movies. They often are like neglect the fact that people do have other social circles.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, but in the movie here, we find out it was a little bit more. They like to keep things a little bit more closeted. So maybe there was reasons for that they just didn't bother discussing. They just wanted to get into it.
Yeah, I thought it was important though that for her backstory and for the film to make sense, that you realize that she didn't have a family and that she was insistent that she join his family. So I thought that was quite good. So let's have a look at some of the cast. So the bride and groom. So we'll go into the groom first. So the groom, Alex, is played by Mark O'Brien. He's been in a bunch of things, but I've not seen him in anything before. Have you seen him before?
He's got one of those faces where you feel like you have, but you can't pinpoint anything in particular.
Yeah. I thought he was cast quite well because it's not like his leading man looks. He's kind of like boy next door. Is that
he's an everyday
guy? Thank you, Nathan. Yeah, that's kind of what he looks like. So I thought he fit the role quite well. But yeah, I wasn't familiar with him, or I didn't think that he was like jumped out. But he's really not the star of the film, is he? Like, the character isn't. Even though he's the groom, he's not the star. He's not in it that much.
No,
yeah, I think he's meant to be the most relatable and normal of the family, as we find out.
As we find out that he's not at the end.
Yeah, exactly.
No, appearance.
Yes, exactly.
So, yeah. I thought he was like, I suppose, a good foil for her because she was a little bit more outspoken and a little bit more cheeky in a way. So you needed someone who was a little bit straight, for want of a better word, with him.
Well, that's exactly it. I really enjoyed one of the moments that they had when, I think it might have been before the wedding, when they were, or maybe even just after, when they were alone together, and she's basically taking the piss out of his family and the over-the-top wealth. and he could talk to her and relate to her in an ordinary way. Whereas you can see the rest of the family, they are very much over the top, but he wasn't acting that way. So you can see like he's the sort of bridge between the worlds.
Yes, agreed. And it was good that they said several times that rich people are like a completely alien species, like you wouldn't understand them. And yeah, it was good that she had him to sort of be the go-between, I guess. And that but he was also able of looking at them the way that she did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. So the she that we're talking about is the star of the wedding and the star of the film. That is Grace, our bride. She's played by fellow Australian Samara Weaving. So she's the niece of the Matrix and Priscilla, Queen of the Desert's Hugo Weaving. I had seen her in the Babysitter films and in Hollywood, and I thought she was pretty good in this movie. What did you guys think? Had you seen her before?
Yeah,
I've seen her in Hollywood as well, and I think she's also ex-Home and Away. Not gonna watch that. She always reminded me of sort of a more budget Margot Robbie. So when I was like in terms of looks and performance, that sort of thing. So when I was watching this, I kind of had her written off as sort of a knockoff or a lesser version, but no, she definitely holds her own.
I'd seen her in maybe more things than Margot Robbie because I think she was in Guns Akimbo. I'm pretty sure she was in Guns Akimbo, but she was in Mayhem. Oh my God,
is there a movie called Guns Akimbo?
Yeah, with Daniel. It's good. It's fun, actually. It's silly, over the top silliness, like Mayhem, which is also got the guy who played Glenn in The Walking Dead, and I can never remember his name, Stephen Yeun. Yeah. He's in it as well. And that's really good, and she was really kick-ass in that. Like, all the things that I've seen her in, she's always been pretty kick-ass, so I always like her a lot.
Yeah, I respect her now.
Apparently they had tried to get Margot Robbie originally, but she wasn't available or wasn't willing to take part in a horror movie like this. So I think this Samara is probably the next best thing.
Yeah, and she's also very fun.
Ex-Sophie Stark and we get.
Yeah.
And Holly Valance.
I like her.
Holly Valance.
That TV show Smilf. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
I've heard of it. Yeah, I think I saw that in my research, but I hadn't seen it before.
Yeah, I really liked that show, and she was really good in that as well. Like a fairly straight character in that, like a pretty normal. Although she was funny, but she was pretty normal.
Okay.
And she was good in that too. So yeah, I liked her.
Yeah, I definitely think she's the star, but I think she's definitely the strength in this movie. Or one of the strengths in this movie is her willingness to sell the film. And there's some moments where, like you said, she's quite comedic, or at the beginning of the film, she comes across as quite innocent. But then moving through the film, you can sort of see that growth, and then to get the character that we get at the end of the film, like she sells all those different parts of the character.
She's very relatable in terms of, I guess, her reaction to a lot of the over-the-top stuff that happens during the movie. That's you can imagine, or me being in the audience watching it, I was like, yep, that's exactly what I would be saying in that moment.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's move on. So they've said I do. Grace thinks that the pressure is off, but the Ladomas family have other ideas. The family gather in the games room, where the walls are covered with various weapons. So let's have a look at who the cast are. So I think it's another strength of this movie is the actual cast itself. Like, I think it is an ensemble cast. I think most of them have their moment to shine in the movie. What did you think of the cast?
Yeah. Well, I didn't really know who was going to be in it until it started because I knew nothing about it. So, for example, like the dad, Henry Cerny, I've seen him in lots of things. He pops up, but he's always good value. Yeah. The brother-in-law, Adam Brody, he's again always generally quite a likable guy. I've never really had.
What's his big thing? What was that show that he was in?
But he's not.
I see. That's right.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. But my big, I guess my favorite performance was Andy Dowell as the mum. I didn't expect that at all.
Yeah, like she was really good. Like I think again, she kind of played an unexpected character. I didn't think I'd seen Annie McDowell in that particular role before.
And she's quite notoriously, well, she's considered not a particularly great actress. Like she's been dubbed in films before because they weren't impressed with her performances and stuff. Yeah, so it was kind of like because she was a model, went into acting, and I think that it was basically sold on her looks. So it was good to see her in something where she's given her a character she can really get into and doing such a good job of it as well.
Yeah, and a woman of a certain age. So it's nice to see a lot of those actresses that are coming back these days. But also, yeah, she's gritty as well because her backstory, her character's backstory, she married into the family. So she's also, like the bride, she's a little bit aware of how over the top and ridiculous it all is, but she's heavily invested in it as well. So she just goes with the flow, knows what they've got to do, and drinks and swears and gets super violent. And yeah, she's
and she comes across like she's very believable as a mum who knows what she's doing is dubious. She does like Grace, but she's there first and foremost to protect her family. And if that means killing the bride, spoiler alert, that's going to happen.
Well. Yeah. Whoops. Gotta break some eggs to make an omelette.
Christian Brun was one of my favourites. I think he played quite a good... Him and his wife in the film played the kind of comedic role, the lighthearted sort of entertainment. And he's been my favourite since Orphan Black. Like, I thought he was hilarious as Fitch. Sort of like trying to, you know... toe the line, but YouTube also like working out like, okay, so I have to kill this woman, like how do I use a crossbow, then is this even real, like yeah, I thought
he's like, are we really gonna do this?
Yeah I did like his it wasn't in your face comedy, it was like just little subtle shots of things, which I appreciated, that they didn't make him like a buffoon and make that silly. It was just a little bit of, while this action's going on, here's a little amusing thing on the side. So I appreciated the way it was integrated into the story as well.
And I guess also for his character, because he also married into the family, so he's also a little bit of an outsider. He's still getting used to the way things are done there, so he's maybe a little bit more relatable.
That's true. I think they could have played him like just totally reluctant, but he was sort of that line between reluctance but also kind of taking a bit of glee in the whole fun of it.
With a healthy dose of cynicism, because I'm not sure entirely believed this was actually going to happen.
I thought he was good. Okay, so should we move on? Any more comments in regards to the cast?
Ooh, what about Aunt Helene?
Oh yeah,
she was good. I think did you pick her at the beginning that she was the bride, the original bride?
I didn't.
Oh no, I didn't. Yeah, that was a bit of a twist.
I thought she was good. Her craziness, like going from being in Grace's situation to then being the one that was sort of the champion to kill the bride after her husband had been killed at the beginning of the film. I thought was a good character arc.
I really like the very first time we see her, she's just sitting there like a grumpy tumor
with that hair looking like Dracula.
It just made me laugh.
I know.
So she's just like, no effort to even look like I'm enjoying this.
She's like a Harry Potter villain, like she's just walked off that into the wrong movie, and she's fantastic.
Yeah, she's funny. Just no bullshit. I hate you all. That's it.
Kill them with a giant axe.
Oh, that's funny. So Grace is told that she must select a card from the mysterious box. The box is connected to the Ladomus family myth about a man who granted their ancestors great success and fortune. A price for such a fortune is that each new member of the family must play a game selected by the cursed box. Very Jumanji, I thought. Unfortunately, An adult version, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for Grace, she is dealt the hide and seek card, and now the other family members have no choice but to hunt and kill Grace before dawn, or else they will meet an unknown but terrible fate. Wow, I think that's a pretty good setup.
Exactly. But at that point, Grace doesn't realize the seriousness of hide and seek. She just thinks it's a fun game. She gets the hype in the mansion, going like dump waiters or whatever, running around.
Yeah, I love how she's like, "Are we really going to play?"
They find it. That's the end of it.
Yeah. And then when she gets tired of waiting and just is like, "Oh, this is stupid. I'm coming out."
Yeah, she just thinks it's a stereotypical, eccentric, rich family, being annoying. Like, she doesn't realize that her life is in their hands now. She's about to die. So, are you guys a fan of game nights?
Yes. I love them.
I can be. It depends on the game. As long as they're not overly complicated. This one's pretty simple. So I'm on board with this one. I just really want to be involved in this one. I'm happy to
Having played games with Nathan, I think it depends on how drunk he is as to how much he enjoys it.
Also depends on whether I understand the rules or not. Which might also be a drunk thing.
But I can get a little bit competitive. Yeah, I know.
Oh,
possibly not the best.
Our last games night was Secret Hitler, and that's quite a complicated game. So it's very, very difficult to get through, but a lot of fun, I think, once you get through.
Well, I just bought the Monopoly that's like the version, the It version. So you have like a little clown and a little balloon and a paper boat and stuff. So yeah, it's really cute.
That's the thing. Like, I can't wait, but like, who am I going to play with? Like, it's not everyone likes to have games nights. It's a bit of a naff thing sometimes to convince people to come along to.
True.
It can be fun. Just lure them with drinks and snacks.
Everyone's going to be there for drinks and snacks.
And then you just suddenly bring out a board game.
Secret Hitler, anyone?
Yeah. Right? Here's your drink and here's your deck of cards. Oh, you go.
Just don't bring out Scrabble. I'm terrible at Scrabble. I hate that game. Or Trivial Pursuit.
Note yourself.
So at this point of the film, it's sort of the first act. What were you guys thinking?
Well, it was still, I guess, building up. So we're still trying to figure out, all right, where is the horror? Where's the twist here? Because so far, she's marrying into a wealthy family. They're a little bit odd, but there's nothing particularly too dark and sinister, but we do feel that maybe there will be.
Yeah.
I just kind of wanted the horror to start because I had a feeling that like once it got cracking, it would just be all the way to the end kind of thing. Like I thought, once we get on this road, we're going to be all good. So, but I love Come on, Dad.
Well, it doesn't take too long.
No.
It is good. The movie, I'll give it that. It does move at a pace. Like, it's quite a satisfying pace. Never really too many dull moments.
No. It says what it needs to say and then just moves on to the next thing.
But yeah, I thought it was a great setup, but it left a lot of things like, why would they be doing this? Like, why would she be in this situation? So I had a few questions at this point. Okay, so moving on. So the family really doesn't question what needs to be done when the hide and seek card is drawn. Grace goes off to hide, thinking it's all a game, not realizing that the family is serious about killing her. After witnessing the brutal death of one of the maids, she soon realizes her fate if she doesn't win the game. Okay, so let's talk about the maids. So some horror movies run into problems that they can't or don't want to kill off any of the main characters at the beginning of the film. So this normally leaves the start of the film feeling sort of very, for want of a better word.
Yeah. There you go.
Where's the kills? Very actionless, like a lot of character building and suspense, but not a lot of kills. But so I think the filmmakers are really clever in having these three maids, which you sort of get a brief shot of at the wedding, like holding the canapes and the champagne glasses. But I think the way that they go through and kill off the maids is genius.
Yeah, it's funny, they kind of reminded me of, do you remember that old Robert Palmer clip, that Simply Irresistible? Though those girls like,
very much.
yeah, I don't know why, they just made me think of them. So they were like killing those chicks off in my head. But I thought it was a really like a way to have a death that you're just going to kind of laugh at, which sounds horrible when I put it that way, but it's true. It was kind of silly, and like it was always that woman accidentally killing them and going, god damn it, you know.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, it was accidental, but then also there's also a little bit of, there's a lot of dark humor in this. Like, we find out that one of the maids, when she's also hiding and worried that she's going to get killed, she says, "I'm not even really a maid, he just likes the way I dance."
Yeah,
that's it.
About the dance.
So let's go through them. So we've got Clara is the first maid. There she is. So she bled to death after Alex's sister, high on drugs, shot her in the head with a shotgun. She was super happy that she killed someone. She thought it was Grace, but it was the maid, who was, by the way, looking after her children.
But, I mean, they had to do that establishing one so that Grace could be aware of how serious this game is. If they hadn't had that happen, she would have just walked straight out and been the first victim, and that would have been the end of the film. So this maid did a sacrificial thing for the better of the film, you know, for the good of the movie.
We're
very amicable. Amicable? No, that's not the right word. Anyway, so the next maid is Tiana, shot through the mouth accidentally by Emily with a crossbow. Then decapitated by Mad Aunt Helena.
That's right.
She seemed.
Was she the one though that was going? She's in here. Was she that one?
Yeah, the last two
kind of
both were yelling out, but yeah, she's the one that ran in with glee, like, "Oh, she's over here."
Yeah, she deserved it.
Yeah, so she's been a bit of a bitch, so yeah.
A dipper-topper. No one loves a dipper-topper.
Exactly. Well, you know, stitches get stitches.
Yes.
That's all.
Exactly. Or in this case, an arrow in the mouth.
So next up we have Dora, who's accidentally crushed inside a dumbwaiter by Grace. So she was not nice either, was she? Grace had told her, like, just go back in to the thing. They'll never find you. They're not looking for you. And then she calls out, like, she's over here. What a bitch.
Yeah. What a bitch. You just can't get good help these days, honestly.
I know. Well, that's the thing with the family. They seem more upset that the maids are dead, and it's going to be terribly inconvenient for them. They've first got bodies, but now they're going to do the work.
I mean, as we learn, that's not going to be a problem. But yeah.
Yeah.
They have a well-polished system for that.
They've thought through everything. So Grace fights her way through the night, having to contend with sinister butlers, dangerous dumbwaiters, and a mother-in-law who will do anything to protect her family from harm. So, Sue, how hard would it be? And Nathan, you can answer this question as well if you like. But how hard would it be to fight for your life in a wedding dress?
The shoes would be more of a problem than the dress to me, because like, I know when I had my wedding dress on, it was made for my body, so it was actually really super comfy. But the problem was the hoop underneath. Just every time I took a step, my heel got stuck in this stupid hoop. So yeah, the heel was the problem, really. So as long as she can change her shoes, the dress is really
which she did. So you'd be switching into the yellow Converses as quickly as possible.
Yeah, as quickly as possible.
That was pretty early on, because the husband basically, well, he tried to save her. He said, "All right, this is what's going to happen. We've got to try and get you out. Here you go. Here's some fresh shoes. You can follow the secret passages out to the kitchen or wherever it was to try and get her out of there." That turned out quite as well as we hoped, or as they hoped. But yeah, the wedding dress, that becomes it's iconic in this movie that she basically goes through the whole movie wearing this wedding dress. It starts off all pristine at the wedding ceremony and then goes through a bit of a journey along the way with each kill.
Yes, that's true. There was I guess the evolution of the wedding dress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was 24
But,
dresses that are actually created for the film, and 17 were worn by Samara Weaving, and the rest were worn by their stunt doubles. So it's sort of, they had different wedding dresses for different parts of the film, like the nice one at the beginning, and then the slightly ripped one, and the one with the ripped arm, and
a little bit more
then
red,
the red one at the
bloody.
end.
I mean, I didn't like the dress, but it was probably perfectly, obviously a lot of work goes into why they choose certain outfits, and I'm assuming they chose that one because it did have the potential for different looks along the way, and because you could move around in that. It wasn't like one of these tied the lace in the back of a corset kind of dresses where she probably couldn't breathe properly enough to actually do anything. So yeah, I thought it was well chosen.
Although that lace,
Yeah.
would you be wanting to wear that
does.
lace? Wouldn't it be itchy?
Yeah, I hated that dress. I would not want to wear that dress. But but it would be good, like, for this particular situation. If you're going to kill a whole bunch
That's
of
the
family
dress.
members, it's probably the dress to choose. Yeah.
Exactly. And she does modify it along the way. Like when she needs to do a bit more running and get serious, she rips off the bottom foot or so. So that way, revealing the sneakers, but also if they make it a bit more functional. Oh, hang on, I've hurt my arm. I know, I'll rip off a sleeve and tie up that, use it as like a bandage.
Yeah.
So yeah, it definitely evolves. Color-wise as well. That's it. Ends up being quite...
I love the end one. It looks amazing.
Yeah.
That's going to be your wedding dress? Just a red lacy thing?
I wish that I could do my wedding again because I don't... My outfits, it was measured when I was at my thinnest, but then by the time I wore it, it was tight. And now, to try to get into any of it, that's not a chance. My suit is no good now.
Yeah, I can't fit into mine anymore. But luckily, it fits everywhere except, the boobage. So I'm like, if I'm going to have it not fit somewhere, I'm okay with that. Yeah.
The boobage gets me every time.
Yeah, damn it.
So the middle part of the film revolves around Grace trying to escape the house. So the butler, Stephen, I think his name is, locks the house at the beginning when the hide and seek game starts. So she can't get out of the house. So they're running around trying to find her. But yeah, she can't escape. And what were your favourite moments of Grace being stuck in the house? Let's go with you, Sue. Ladies first.
I mean, there's quite a few bits that I like a lot, but probably the one that sticks in my head the most is when she's in the kitchen with the butler and he's doing bits
exactly
and
what I was
pieces
thinking.
hiding. Yeah, I think it's stuck in my head so much because it does remind me of Jurassic Park and that moment when they're in the kitchen with the Velociraptor. But and because there was quite a lot of humor in it with him doing his little singing and stuff, and yeah, like that scene I quite liked.
It was pretty tense.
It was.
Well, he's just making a cup of tea. And it's a very suspenseful cup of tea.
Yeah, like, but she's not in the house for that long, is she? Like, there's not a lot of place to go in that giant mansion, and I think because it actually was, it's mainly filmed on location, and it's like a heritage listed house, and they couldn't do a lot of stuff to the house, so it's probably why there's a lot of running and hiding, but not a lot of stuff going on. So
yeah, well, that makes sense. I mean, it makes sense practicality wise, but also story wise.
That's true.
As well.
I thought, she's just going to be in the house the whole time.
Yeah, I've seen films like that. It's very boring.
And it's only so many. They did have the secret passages, but there's only so many times they can escape someone by going in a secret passage. And a dumbwaiter. So with the help...
Poor waiter. So insulting.
It is so insulting. Dumbwaiter. So with the help of Alex, Grace does escape the house, and she's mad to escape the grounds, but the grounds are quite big. So there's quite a lot. This is, I think, is the better part of the film, is when she does escape the house, like I said, and there's more going on. What were the highlights for you guys? Let's start with Nathan, and for Grace being outside the house and running around the grounds trying to escape.
Yeah, well, I guess at one point because again, huge grounds, she's got to find her way out, but she's also got to find a bit of protection. So at one point she runs into this, what looks like stable, looking for a bit of shelter in there. And while she's there, she comes across, I guess, one of the little kids. And she thinks, oh, he was going to help her, or maybe she needs to help him as well, because maybe he's like young and innocent. But again, he dobs her in and shoots her in the hand. And while that happens, she falls backwards and into the dead goat pit.
Not the goat pit!
Yeah, that was
I know,
the family goat pit.
Dead goat pit.
And then there's the corpse of the groom from the beginning of the film, the skeleton.
Oh, yeah, true.
Yeah. And you can see or hear the flies buzzing around, and you can tell it's just like really rank and disgusting down there as well, and in the dark.
And she's got that wound. She's got a giant hole in her hand, and you're like, oh, she's going to get maggots. It's going to really get nasty.
Yeah, it's pretty horrific.
But for her to punch out the kid,
but then also,
yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. When he calls out, she's in here, and she goes.
I love that. I love that.
That was so unexpected. I didn't expect them to do that.
I mean, I don't want to be controversial, but so many kids deserve a punch to the face. It was good to see.
That's the thing, because you're not meant to do that. You're not meant to punch the face, no matter how much of a dick they are. But
yeah, it was something satisfying about it. I felt terrible. Like, it's like one of those moments. Like, I can see people get bludgeoned to death, but it's the kid like getting punched is the bit that goes, oh, that's a bit much.
Yeah. Really? I loved it.
Again, bring up the blood, punch the kid.
See, I'm a horror person.
Oh, that's funny. See, what was your favourite moments from being out of Grace being outside?
Her slipping through the gate and then trying to get that lift, and then when the lift keeps on going and she does that stream of "you motherfucker," I love that. I thought that was really funny, because we've all had that feeling of just complete anger and frustration when you don't get something that you really need.
And that bit where she's trying to get through the gate and it's like scratching her back and ripping through the dress. Yeah. But she's so determined to get through that gate, because it is literally life or death. It's you could feel it like scratching your own back.
You'd have to, yeah, right. Like you'd have to do it. But I'm thinking, I mean, there's no way I'd fit through there. Like I'd just be like, oh well, I guess I'm dead. But you know, maybe I should have not had those last few cakes. But seriously, like
these boobies,
my boobage.
Yeah, I regret my decision. Yeah, I'd be it would not work for me. I'd have to figure out some other way. But yeah, luckily she was a stick and managed to squeeze through. But it still even cost her that huge scrape on her back. I thought it was interesting that it seemed to me that she had to choose between leaning forward or leaning back, and like sacrificing one or the other, because they were both poking on either side. So you'd have to lean in on which side you are happy to sacrifice, I guess.
It was a really suspenseful moment. It's like, all right, so close to being, I guess, free and being able to get away from there. How badly do you want it? Are you going to put yourself through this pain where you get this giant gash on you? And it seemed to almost happen in slow motion. It was like,
and you go through all of that, and then the car doesn't stop and pick you up. Like he just tells you to get off the road. It's like, are you serious? Like that just even made it even more painful. It's like I've got tetanus, I've got a scratch down my back, my wedding dress is ripped, and you don't even stop, you asshole. Like
I'm having the worst day that anyone ever had, and you drive past me, you motherfucker. Yeah,
it was bad.
Yeah. So against defense, in filmed it.
Hmm. And you remember when we were talking about Halloween and how Jamie Lee Curtis is considered like the scream queen, but it's really not an impressive scream. I think Samara Weaving has a pretty impressive scream.
She certainly does. So she has some interactions with Stephen the butler. Like Stephen's really is dedicated to his job, like in trying to kill this poor woman, and he captures her. So let's have it like.
Yeah, do you think he was going to get a bonus or something? Like he was really.
You'd hope like that, you know. I guess she did scold him. So she did throw the hot water on his face. So he did kind of have a bit of a vendetta against her.
You burnt my face. Now you must die in a sacrificial thing.
Bitch.
But I don't know. Maybe he gets a bonus at the end of the day. But for doing
his own, like his employers will be alive, so that's good.
Yeah, true.
He'll be able to continue employment.
I'll put a little bit extra in your pay
So Stevens eventually meets his maker. He's killed in a car crash after getting kicked in the head repeatedly by Grace. It was comical at the beginning because he's relaying to the whole family huddled around the iPhone that he's caught her.
Yeah,
and then he, while they're still on the call, starts singing his opera songs again. Not noticing in the back as the family panto style is saying behind you as Grace escapes and kicks him in the head, which causes a car crash. And the car crash itself is almost beautiful, the way it's filmed sort of in slow motion with all the glass going across. It was quite a nice, interesting death. I give the film that as well, is that all of the deaths are quite different. It's not just like a slasher and they're dead. Like they're all very I guess because they're all different killers as well, very different kills.
I mean, I kind of miss the slasher kills. You know, I mean, there's nothing like someone being whacked against a tree while they're in a
I'm not,
bag.
you know me, I'm not gonna knock a slasher kill. I do love that, but I thought that this film like run the gamut of different ways to kill people.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
But these ones, they were intelligent and believable.
They were believable, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I thought she would like, I don't know, I was expecting her to come up behind him and like, didn't she have her hands in cuffs or something? I can't remember. I thought she was going to come up and like strangle him with something. I didn't expect
it tied or something?
I thought they were. I thought they were tied.
I was expecting her to choke him or something.
That's what I thought she was going to do. So I guess it's less obvious the way that it did happen, but more risky. I mean, you think you go for strangling.
Yeah. So the next person to die is Daniel. So Daniel Ladomas, the eldest brother. He's shot in the neck by Charity. So that's, am I remembering correctly?
Again, by accident.
Is that his wife?
That was a regrettable loss. I think it was.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah, because the wife, hang on. Yes, it was his wife. Because she married into the family, didn't she? As well. And she was a gold digger and she really wanted to be part of it. And he was a bit blasé and he knew what they're doing is shitty, but at the same time, he's also part of the family. So kind of got to go along with it.
I feel like he had just checked out a long time ago, so he really didn't give a shit about anything.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah.
But she's taking it seriously, so when he gets in the way, he does.
And again, like saying about the kills, so there was sort of different ways that they killed people. I think the characters in the family, they all had that sort of different parts of what you'd want. So there was the funny one, the crazy one, and I think he was the sympathetic one. Like the younger brother, the groom, was sympathetic, but they sort of switch roles halfway through the film and towards the end of the film. And I think it's the older brother that you're sort of rooting for. And to see him then die...
I feel like his external was not the same as his internal, and it was the same with the other guy. Like, he looked bad on the outside, but he was nice on the inside, and vice versa.
Yeah, it's quite complex.
Yeah, well, especially when this one, he was trying to save Grace and trying to help her out towards the end.
Yeah.
And that he had, yeah. So basically, that's why his death is actually quite sad.
Yeah.
Something that his
Agreed.
brother, the groom, couldn't do was to sort of go in and save her, whereas he did and ended up sacrificing his life for. So, yeah, I thought his character was good, and I thought his death was kind of unexpected for me. And it was kind of pretty. It was like not a bang, you're dead. Like it was quite a drawn out thing.
Drawn out, yeah. But I was thinking, I mean, at least we didn't get to see him have the end death, because by then we kind of liked him. So he got to still die in a noble way, so to speak. Whereas if he'd made it all the way to the end, we would have seen him in the end sequence, which wouldn't have had quite the same impact. So it was probably the right death for his character, even though it was really the one.
His character arc ended up being a bit different to what I was expecting, because to begin with, he was, he'd sort of checked out of the family and not really taking it seriously. I thought he was going to end up getting away with her and they were going to be together at the end, not that he would not survive the night.
And you make a good point, Nathan, that going into this movie, I thought it was... thought I knew what the ending was, like, going into it, because it had so many rules around it, and it's like, well, they've kind of, like, painted themselves into a corner with having so many rules, but all of those things that you thought it should be doing, they sort of turned it on its head, and they always had explanation as to why they were doing certain things. So, yeah, I kind of thought the same, that she would end up with him, and then to kill him off was quite a bold choice.
Yeah, agreed.
So...
Which made it sadder again.
Sorry, what was that, Nathan?
What was that?
Which made it even sadder. So his death was not just... It was meaningful.
That's very clever.
So,
So the next death was Becky, the mum, Becky Ladomas. I know.
It was very violent.
That
was so violent.
So Becky was beaten to death by Grace with the box, the magical box, which was kind of like poetic that she was doing that. Yeah, but it was like, brutal. Like when they sort of had a quick shot of like her face, like all sort of ripped and smashed in.
Yeah. And when they showed the box, like blood and hair on it, I don't know, that kind of grossed me out as well. I mean, it was appropriate, and obviously it was kill or be killed, and you do what you got to do, but it was very real, quite real.
That's a good, it was definitely real. Yeah, it was Andie MacDowell, I do love her, but it was, interesting to see her get beaten in the face with a box.
Right?
I know. Also, and like what we said before, I've never seen her in any sort of dark roles before. She's always been, like the sort of light and fluffy one. But like 14th and funeral type Andy. But then to see her like sort of being really dark and sweary, and then obviously violent and messed up, I think I want to see more of
it. But I mean, it was interesting that they chose to smash her face in, considering, she was a model.
Yeah.
It just occurred to me that like she made her living off her face, and now,
So
I'm thinking way too deeply into that one.
No, we love it. So after putting up a good fight, Grace is caught and tied up to the table to be sacrificed. Unfortunately for the Ladomas family, it's too late, and the sun is rising. So we got to the end. What did you think would happen at this point in the film?
Not what happened.
Same. I thought, it's all going to be like, all these people have died, and it's all for nothing. Like, we're fine. Like, let's go on with our life.
Yeah, like that kind of ironic, oh gosh, it was so tragic and sad that people died for nothing. And then the first person blows up, and you're like, hang on, what now?
Yeah, that's it. So moments after sunrise, when the family think it could be all hype, each member of the Ladomas family are spontaneously combust, making it obvious that their fears of what would happen if they did not kill Grace were pretty justified. Then I thought it was interesting the way they all blew up, and when the kids like ran out of the room. Excuse me. You even saw them with their blood
Bless-
sort of splatting against the wall. Like they didn't hold back with showing each family member blowing up and exploding. It's pretty gross.
Yeah. Each one was rewarding. I mean, yeah, the kids that were annoying, so find that great. That's fine as well. That was sort of a bit unexpected, but yeah, I really enjoyed. I mean, it was just ridiculous and over the top. It sort of reminded me of the end of Kingsman, with all the heads and everything all exploding. So it was just
true.
almost like water bombs full of blood. But yeah, it was again an interesting twist because basically the whole movie we're hearing about the family they must kill her, otherwise some terrible death will happen to them all and they'll lose their power. And we're thinking, well, is this kind of real or is it bullshit? In fact, one of the family members even says that. And then we think towards the end, it's like, no, it is just rubbish. And it's like, oh, okay, we've just been through all that, but clearly not.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I really liked how unexpected it was, and that they never said exactly what was going to happen all the way through the film.
Yeah.
So it was just an unknown fate. So you really had no idea what to expect. So when it first happens, you're in between, like, horrified and really want to laugh your face off because it's really funny. But geez, I did not expect that at all. And I really like that she, after everyone died, and she had that little flash of the devil sitting in the chair, and she just goes, fuck. Like...
it's just like, all right, so this was all completely real. That they said.
Yeah. So the very final scene, the final shot of the scene of the film, is Grace covered head to toe, and she says to the cop, in blood, sorry, yes, and so she just says to the police officer, in-laws, as she sits on the step and their beautiful mansion is in flames. I thought it was a great ending to the film.
It did remind me a lot of Heathers and Hush, but I'm fine with that because I like both those movies. So, you know, what's another one with the same kind of imagery? That's fine with me. It's good imagery.
It's satisfying that, she's basically burning down that whole family tradition because she survived, they didn't. But at the same time, the wedding dress that was, pristine white at the beginning is basically red.
Blood red.
And she's been through hell. She just wants to have a smoke. And then when the firefighter says, what happened? In-laws. That's last line.
I like that now she's like tough. Now she at the beginning of the film, she couldn't smoke.
It was kind of full circle that you say that, Sue, because she was smoking at the very beginning of the film and then like has a cigarette at the very end of the film. Full circle smoker.
But at the beginning it's a bit of a
faux pas.
It's not her. She's all awkward with it. But she's just like, I'm so cool.
So let's go into our final thoughts. Sue, did you want to go first with your final thoughts and wrapping up what you think of the film?
Well, I thought that with regards to it being a horror comedy, depends on what you want from horror. It's not going to scare anybody. But if you just want like gore and fun, then it fulfilled both of those horror and comedy requirements. And she was a pretty kick-ass heroine and all the characters were well defined. So, yeah, I really liked it.
And Sue, we're going to give either a Pash or a trash. So Pash being that you liked it or a trash that you didn't like it. What did you give the film, a Pash or a trash?
I reckon I'll Pash it.
You're going to Pash it.
I am.
Nice. Okay. Let's go over to Nathan. Nathan, what did you think of the film?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it as well. I thought it was fun. It was surprising. It was dark. It was tense. It was bloody. There was really good, surprising performances as well. Again, really enjoyed Dark Andy McDowell as well. I want more manic Samara Weaving because towards the end where she's just basically lost it and the family are trying to and do away with her, the screams and the squeals. It was over the top. It was fantastic. I didn't know much about this movie beforehand. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Very much, much better than expected as well. It did remind me a lot of Get Out. Quite a few similarities there in that there's a new family member coming into a family with a sort of a dark secret. But I like this one way better.
And do you give it a pash or a trash?
Oh, big fat juicy
Oh,
pash.
big wet one. Oh, so yeah, I'm the same. This is definitely my type of horror film. Like Sue said, it's not exactly too scary. I did find it. There was some tense moments, especially. My sort of horror is I don't like the unknown. So things where you don't know what's around the corner really does appeal to me. It gave me the vibes of those sort of early 2000s or late 90s films, like your Screams, Know What You Did Last Summer. Those are my type of jams. And so for me, it offered so much. And I also thought I was expecting it to be a lot more B grade than what it was. I thought it was like a really well thought out script. I thought they took it seriously. It wasn't just sort of like these are sort of some game situations, haunted house, running around a house, and they could have gone through a lot of cliches, but I think they avoided a lot of those. So I really appreciated the film, and I thought the acting was amazing. It's an amazing ensemble film, which again that's the type of horror movie that I do like. You've got your final girl, but you also have some great characters to support them. So I'm thinking like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and all the best of the slasher films like Friday the 13th, some of the best ones of them. That's what I love. And so, as you can probably guess, I'm giving it a pash.
Triple
pash for
Ooh,
Ready
lots
or
of
Not.
Oh.
So we've almost hit the hour, guys. We've gone through all the bits of Ready or Not that we love. So thank you so much for joining us. Like I said, we will be doing these regularly, and we'll iron out Nathan's camera problems.
Oh, but it's fun.
I know.
It's like Swallow, like you're in the corner of the screen, and it could be fun for the audience.
Where's Wally?
Yeah.
It's gonna be.
So we're going to be trying to do these normally on a Thursday, but follow us on our social media. So Horror Movie Freaks on Facebook or Horror Movie on Twitter. And yeah, you can also obviously subscribe to us on YouTube. Hit the bell icon so that you get notified when we are going live. And if you can't, because we are in Australia, we do understand that we are in a weird time zone. So you can always rewatch these live videos on YouTube. So make sure you like and subscribe. So next week we're going to be doing, like I said at the beginning of the show, we are really looking forward to seeing Fear Street. So it's a new trilogy that's coming out has already come out, the first episode on Netflix. It's a trilogy of slasher movies, which we are huge fans of, or I'm a huge fan of.
I am. Yeah, absolutely. Well, all horror, really, but yeah.
So next Thursday, join us as we review Fear Street Part 1, 1994, and we will be going through the other two as well when they come out. So make sure that you come along. So we are live, and you can start chatting with us as well, which we'd love to get some interaction with the audience. So until then, thank you so much, guys, for joining us tonight. Thank you, Sue. Thank you, Nathan.
Thank
you, audience. Until next time, play in the shadows and stay safe.